she gave me a very nice introduction of myself. So my name is Toru, but she gave the nice introduction of me, so I'm not going to say so much about myself. But I'm just going to mention this one. Just a few things about what I do, because it leads on to what I speak today. So I work at a company called, it's actually pronounced Tarosky. I only found out recently that everyone reads it Tarosky, but it's Tarosky. It's okay. It's okay. So basically, we do agency work, and we do many, not only, but many mid to high volume enterprise kind of websites, like a big website, like, I don't know, something like has a post of 20,000 or 30,000 posts, or has a huge number of traffic. And because of that, many of the projects that we do and I get involved in involves moving the site. So the clients might be unhappy with the situation or cannot scale or whatever, so they come to us and ask us how to solve this. So I get into a situation where I have to check through the current status of this website so that we can move over. And we value a lot on doing a little bit of cleaning and refactoring a little bit so that it can maintain over a few years. So when we do this, I see, press the wrong button. I see these situations, not updated, right? The core or the plugin, whatever, cannot update. And when you update, it breaks things. It comes up with loads of errors. 10,000 errors per minute is not a number I made up. This was actually in one of the projects. It had 10,000 errors per minute logging in the AWS. No one knows why plugin X, A, B, C is used. No one knows why it's used. No one not sure whether it's still used. And has any of you here encountered this kind of situation when client approaches you? No one? There's a few people nodding, so I guess this situation. So what I think of this is that, okay, they have their excuses. They may have their reasons, maybe the budget, maybe the time, whatever, but whatever it is, in the end, the status is like, it's been built just to work, and it's not built to last. And the maintenance is done just to run the site. So it's not doing proactive maintenance to improve any little bits of things that might need to be improved. And it's really frustrating. And it hurts, I think, both us, the agency, not just the developers, but the people in between doing all the negotiation with the client, but also the clients too, because they will end up paying more money to try to fix these issues. And WordPress is a CMS, right? So the maintenance, it matters. It's not a sub things that you can forget about it. It's an important part because the clients will maintain the content, and us, the agency, supposed to be professional, maintaining I just wrote applications, but sometimes the infrastructure as well, but the whole technical lot. And it overlaps because if we do the bad jobs, it affects how the clients can maintain their content. So I'm gonna make a bold statement here. I don't have any data to support me. It's more like a gut feeling, but many bad experiences with WordPress arise from poor maintainability. Sometimes, of course, the client wants to ask the new shiny features, like these days, like AI and stuff. Yeah, that's the important things. But it's like, if the quality is up, the high quality is up here, if the low quality is down here, and we've seen too many that looks like there's a lot of high qualityness in the site, but it's pretty poor at the bottom. So I can keep ranting on about this for probably half an hour. If someone gets me a beer, I can probably keep going on for 1 hour. But that's not exactly useful. So I'm going to say a few things that we do at work, how we do things. And sometimes it is more time-consuming, but we value it to keep this maintainability in good shape so that it can keep going for a long time. And there are so many things, but I'm trying to kind of summarize into 4 things. Now, the first one, error logs are gold, particularly with WordPress, the PHP errors. And nothing special about it. Yes, it's the error logs. The key message here for me is that stop relying on guessworks. It is very surprising to find that so many people actually don't look at the error logs. Juniors, yes, maybe they're new to jobs. So I have a junior engineer who keeps coming, well, at the beginning kept asking me, Miki-san, I have this kind of issue happening in like this website. Do you have any idea what might be causing this? And I asked her, oh, no, I have no idea what's causing this because it's not my kind of work to keep looking at it. And I asked her, have you checked the error logs? And she said no. So go and check the error logs first. It tells you what happened. That's what the log does. And it's not what you think happened. And it records it all there. So I kept telling her this a couple of times, and now she do go and look at the error logs. But there are people the outside developers that we sometimes do associate with, they don't seem to look at the error logs, and it's very, disappointing. Make sure the logs are accessible and viewable. Now, the viewable part I'll mention with next slide, but I don't know if there's any hosting server like this in Taiwan or anything that you use, but there's a very famous, well-known Japanese hosting server, which I'm not going to name who, has a rental server service. It's a very cheap one, like 500 yen, which is, I think, about 2,500 Taiwan dollars. This service, you can only see the error logs for that day. So if my client comes up and say, yesterday we had this kind of issue during the lunchtime, could you possibly look at it? Now all I can say is no, I cannot, because I cannot reach the error logs. So please tell me, what did you do? Right? I mean, okay, it's a cheap rental server, and you get what you get. But then if you're doing a professional agency work or anything similar to the agency work, how on earth you select that for your professional work? I have no idea. We end up using it because it was by very strong request, just happened to be from our client. So my opinion, don't choose hosting servers like that. And also make it a part of your workflow, so people just don't have it go and check about it. Maybe in future, maybe in systems, some people may have already, may notify you with a captcha for error logs or something, but more than that, make a habit of it. And I'm going to show you a captcha. This is like error logs of I just cut out the 2 error logs from 2 different projects on our site. It is hosted on our WordPress platform service that we use as AWS. So the graph actually is on the AWS service called CloudWatch, but I believe that there are other hosting servers, managed WordPress hosting servers, maybe specific services for like making the error logs look beautiful. May show you a graph like this. So it's the idea of you look up on the graph is like, if you look at the top one, there are not many errors that are going on, but you can see that this green one is error logs, and there's something periodically happening. It's not a clone error log, so there may be something that's, I don't know, affecting from outside. But not a lot, but when it happens, the peak is very large. So, I don't know, maybe some kind of notice or warning happening here. The bottom one has more frequent errors happening, but each time it happens, there's not a lot. So it might be a very minor kind of some kind of a notice or something. But the more important ones is that, so we separate the colors between the notice and warnings and the fatal ones. The orange are the fatal ones. So when you visualize in a graph like this, you can say, oh, look, there's quite a few fatal ones that's happening irregularly. Maybe that's, we need to prioritize to check what's going on here. Yeah, and of course, we want to make the error to be 0, so we want to check out the green ones too, but that kind of, in the end, comes down to like how much support maintenance fees that you are getting charged, you're getting, and it depends on the plans. So that's how we decide. But looking at the visually is of great help. Let's go to next, the plugin. Principles of plugin selection. The plugins are like the dungeons, really. So message is look beyond the future list and go and evaluate the long-term viability. Because people, you just look at the features. Okay, I want these features, put this plugin. I want these features, put this plugin. But go and look beyond that. If possible, always prefer single purpose, the plugin that just do one thing, not like all of different stuff. If it does, then you should opt for the focused ones. So for example, SEO plugin usually not just do one thing, because things like technical SEOs and XML sitemaps and breadcrumbs and that kind of stuff get usually related in some way or another. But you know, that's the kind of area that I should focus on. If it does it more, then maybe you want to kind of think about it. Responsibly maintained. I will give you a good example next slide, so let me skip that. At the end, the quality do matters. If you have a time, and if it's a plugin that you use it so much, maybe it's a good idea to go and look through the actual code. The code isn't always in good quality. Particularly, I don't know how many people works here with very high traffic volume enterprise, but some of the plugins are not written to scale. So it might be okay when its size is small, but it causes a lot of issues when you start to get more and more traffic. So I'll give you one example, first example here. Again, a plugin that I'm not going to name what, because I'm only going to say a bad thing about it. So this was in one of the projects I moved the site recently from to our hosting and our maintenance. So I went through checking everything, and I think there's a captcha I forgot to add it there. But I noticed this because there was a flag up on the security. I think it was on the WordFence or WP scan or something. There was a security warning. Not so critical, but still security issues are security issues. So I went and checked what the state of this plugin. So I thought, oh, what did I do? Oh, okay. On the left-hand side, here. So I went, see, this is WP WordPress.org support forum. I saw a post that says, got a security warning. And it's exactly the same as what I was trying to research. And it says, no replies, 9 months and 1 week ago. So it's been left like this. And you look above, there's no reply. There's another one that's something else, but has no reply for 10 months. Actually, this plugin, there's no one's replying for like a year and a half. So I think, okay, this is probably finished developing, you know, so I should suggest. Then I look at the latest version here, and it says 1.4.24, and it says 6 months ago, updated. I know, what? So I briefly had a look at changelog. At least they had changelog, but all they had is like fixed CSS. Well, this is not address the security issues. I have no idea. They seem to have like maybe a separate site for the paid version. I don't know. But this is what I mean by irresponsible maintenance support. The actual functions, the features are pretty good. It's okay, it works, it's fine. But you are maybe facing trouble a few months down the line because of this. Not only just this security fix, but you know, if it's a broke-related stuff, so things might change in future, they might not update. We deleted this because we found out that they're not really using this much at all. So we deleted this. That's about the example. This is another example. It's actually a thing related to a Japanese company called Vector. And I put the name on because there's a little bit of negative stuff, but there's also a good stuff in here. A good friend of mine, Ishikawa-san, is the main person behind it. It's a theme called Lightning. You can download it from .org theme repository. I think it's about in top 20 or 30 of the most downloaded themes in the world. And this was on a site that I was already maintaining. It was already on our server, and certain pages, certain posts, certain archives pages mysteriously goes fatal error with what seemed to be an infinite loop. And I couldn't figure out why, and there's no seem to be a pattern at the beginning, but in the end, I found out it's something to do with O-embed. And so I've posted this. This is August 20, and I posted here that how I fixed it, made the fix temporary with the child theme because it had a fix, it had filter fix and stuff. And then he responded. I think he did own testing within their company to make sure that it is actually the case, and he responded to me in August 21. That's the next day. And he also labeled here, it's hard to read, but it says in Japanese, priority high. So one thing, so there's two things here. He's very well-known, respected, and very popular company with the themes in Japan, at least in Japan anyway. And when the author is like that, people will think, oh, this person is so well-known, so respected, so famous in the community, the quality of everything inside must be so good. But the truth is, it's not always that good. There are certain things that is not tested, maybe, certain situation that might be not covered. And of course, anyone can have a bug in any softwares, right? So that's what the case is. But the good thing is that he's responded in very sensible manner and was aware that this could be a big issue because of infinite loop and it brings the site down. So he quickly acted to fix the matter. So that's what I would call the very responsible maintenance support. Nothing flashy here, nothing groundbreaking here, not like cutting edge technology here, but this kind of things I think we value very, very importantly. It's very high. So with the plugin, I was going to run out of time. Keep talking about plugins. The important thing that I always say to my friends are that you're effectively throwing away the responsibility. So you have this site, you're cutting this bit out, and you're just kind of throwing away to someone else to develop it, maintain it, and do the support. Well, okay, that's maybe how some of the plugin works, and you utilize it that in a good way, that's okay. But you still have the responsibility to keep that maintained. So if something happens, it's up to you to proactively look into it and replace it or send an issue, a pull request, whatever. And I think that's the responsibility that the professional agency need to have. Separation of concerns, that's a bit of more of a developer engineering stuff, and I think that some people are more aware of this already. So there's something called single responsibility principles. It's come from software engineering. So it means you keep each functions, a class of file focused in a single defined purposes. The good example of not doing that is putting all the custom code into functions.php. That is the common situation in WordPress you find. And if you go a little above the layer, there's a theme. Theme is supposed to be for presentations. Plugins for supposed to be for functionality. It's not always the clear-cut boundary sometimes. But if you can do it, it will be better. Usually the sum or rule of thumb will be if there's something functionality that you want to keep for that site, even if you change the theme, it's probably something you should be put in your custom plugin for that site. Visible discovered. Yeah, we'll go to the next slide because I can. This is a example. It's a bad example from a project that I'm not going to name what. So I was told that this site has no notifications about updates. It seems to be all updated. There seems to be no issue at all. So you can probably just move over. I log in, immediately find out the WordPress version is old. Some of the plugins are old. Because I know that because I updated that with a security fix just a few weeks ago with other project. So I just went in function PHP and immediately found this, and it kind of, as I translate this Japanese into English, it just turns the notifications off, plugin update notifications off, and it also hides some of the menus. Now, there's sometimes a request to do that, but there are other ways to do it. So, for example, if you use a plugin, which I can't remember what, that tweaks around the admin menus. Now, if you use that instead of putting a code into a theme, anyone can go into plugin list and check, okay, there's this plugin in here that you can customize some of the admin menus. Now you know, anyone can, you don't have to engineer, anyone can check that, okay, there's some kind of customization here happening on this site, which is okay. But the point is, anyone can see it. I shouldn't really say so much bad about some of these things because, but anyway, some of you already know, some of you might notice that this code, to be honest, is completely wrong. It doesn't actually deactivate the notifications. What it actually does is it actually completely shut down the check-in process between the site and the .org server. There's actually a different hook if you want to customize the adminification. So clearly this is lacking of skills here. So that's kind of, and again, yeah, that was in functions PHP, so it's not separated. I'm going to skip this bad practices because it is opposite. Okay. Now, 8 minutes left. Development practices. So sadly, I just don't have a time to go through in detail every single one. So I'm going to do the outline. I'm happy to answer any questions afterwards. And yeah, let's go. So first of all, this is a development practice for possibly a custom code for your client site. Version control. All the custom code should be version controlled. And Git is really a more de facto standard, so just use a Git. Well, if you want to use a version, fine, but yeah, Git is fine. Please use the Git. And I think there's no, if you are, maybe if you're a junior engineer, junior developer, if you're unsure, I highly recommend you go and run basic Git. It's probably, it's something you should run if you're an engineer more than maybe discovering the AI stuff. I think it is must needed. And you can find different workflow that uses the GitHub, Git branches and stuff. But the main point here is the do a pull request based workflow. For your main branch, do not allow to have a direct commit. Always have a pull request. And important things is I sometimes hear that if you're doing solo, there's no point. Some people don't do it, but do it even if you're solo. A, it's a good running process, and B, it leads on to good things that I'm going to say in next 2 slides. Always do that. 2 is more like a testing analysis things. There's things called static analysis, things like a PHP-CS, ESLint, StyleLint. Very easy to set up, to run. It will check a coding standard according to WordPress. And it kind of tells you, for example, you shouldn't be using this function because there's alternate functions in WordPress core. Or maybe this is already duplicated, you should not be using. If I remember right, it kind of maybe tells you that do not directly write the CSS user WP-enqueue script and that kind of stuff as well. And also warns you about security stuff, particularly escaping, missing of escaping functions. Testing, things like unit test, visual regression test. To be honest, this is one is very difficult. We found to do it in the client work. I know, I'm aware that some companies do this far, but this is very difficult. But I put it here because it's a good thing to know that ideally it should be done every time. So this kind of, this is like a quality checking process that you can do, practice you can do. And then documentation, yes, documentation. So little time to write documentations. But the one here is talking about is more like a things like PHP docs. So things that you might write in your PHP file above your custom functions, say note, this, do that, kind of things. They are format like a PHP docs, that's a standardized format. So follow that, and that would be pretty good. If you use a IDE that supports like auto suggestion, I think sometimes it's put together with like AI plugins. It kind of suggests what it should be writing in there, so you can utilize that. Yeah. And then CI/CD, I probably should have written the full title here. It's for continuous integration, continuous deployment. So all the stuff I just talked earlier, you can set it up automation. So when a pull request happens, these checks happens on, for us, we use GitHub, so it happens on the GitHub. And everyone can look, all my team, all my colleagues and teams can look at the same result of the same test that's happening on one environment that is on GitHub. So that avoids a situation where maybe some people have a different kind of stack in their Mac, in their PCs, and have a different result. From that, you can set up build and deploy, and you can deploy directly from repository. Zip up and upload, or just do the rsync or whatever. And there's no need to do manual fizzling with SFTP, right? Much safer, and it's quicker too. And anyone can hit the deploy button and it will deploy. It's not like they have to come to me because I have a special, like, I don't know, priority or something. So that's just about everything. So the message here is the, let's build better, okay? Now, yeah, I'm gonna finish it, right? Two more, okay? I did use a word called engineering in my title. Now, for a while, I had this situation where I was thinking like, many people use engineering as a programming. But from my past experience working in like a civil engineering company a long time ago, that's not what engineering is. And it's kind of it was always in my mind thinking, that's a bit strange here. And then I was thinking about these things, how we can do things better for maintainability. And I came across this in a book. It's a bit of long things, but I'm going to read it out. There's a book called Software Engineering at Google. It's out from O'Reilly. I read it it's a huge book, right? It's about that thick. I've read some bit in Japanese. I'm going to quote this in English. So the important point here is up at the top. It says, within Google, we sometimes say software engineering is programming integrated over time. And the programming is such an insignificant part of software engineering. After all, programming is how you generate new software in the first place. And it becomes clear that we might need to delineate between programming tasks, which is development, and software engineering tasks, which is development, modification, maintenance. So I was thinking, oh, wow, yeah. Google, they do a different, well, they build the different things than we do, but there are clearly people who think that engineering is more things over time. There are other stuff like scaling and something else that they were talking about in the books. But it's kind of reinforced my sort of thoughts that wasn't quite clear in my mind. It kind of cleared me up. I'm not the only person who thinks that way. So basically, let's engineer WordPress site that lasts. Okay, so few headaches for developers, better experiences for clients, and hopefully that will raise the bottom bar of how the agency make a WordPress site. So okay, make it flashy, new, great things, AI, whatever is one thing, but at least we can raise this bar so the clients will be happy. Thank you. Any questions?
哇，好的，感谢呢我们的讲者，我们的透露商。那因为时间的关系，我们可能只能1、2位，因为我们预计是1点40的时候进行休息。这样，那有没有人想要发问的？可以把握机会哦。有吗？有吗？好，太好了，感谢。
Hi, thank you for your talk. I'm curious about the debugging for by using AI-based toolkits. That, for example, some bug is happening at the runtime. It's a runtime error. So that maybe, for example, I'm working on C++ for the Whisper, streaming Whisper, and sometimes I need to check the memory leak. So, but yeah, this kind of runtime error, like if maybe we cannot find out until we start up our service and try the try some have some clients to try the system. So how do you think about if we want to automatically to quickly to solve the issue, like just rather than just using the manual methods?
Sorry, I didn't quite get the last part. So how do they quickly solve?
So like there's some kind of runtime errors. How do you think that we can choose that? How do you think we can fix to fix these bugs more faster? Yeah.
Okay. I think I get what you mean. I'm sorry if it doesn't, so someone can translate me later if you need. Yeah, the errors that like a PHP, simple PHP errors are quick. You can go and see the PHP errors, but the ones that are complicated are the ones that kind of do get related to the infrastructure, the actual server stuff. Now, the good high-end servers will have some kind of tool that will help you to do the investigation, maybe to find the bottlenecks. So from where the PHP executes and the page is outputted, they might find a bottleneck that might be to do with database stuff, or that may be to do with the what's it called? The memory storage, like a Redis. That's one thing. And again, I mentioned earlier a little bit about the 500 yen cheap servers, right? Those servers will not have that. But that's what the target is for. So if you need to do more, then you probably need to use the ones that are on target. The difficult thing is that if you use servers like that, it's going to be higher. The price is high. And maybe your clients cannot pay for that. Then that's where you probably have to draw a line. I'm sorry, but it's this price, that's all we can do. Since you mentioned about the memory, it happens on the WordPress too. You get things like a PHP error that says out of memory. That is very, very difficult to go to the bottleneck because of the nature of how that happens. Because the point when memory leak happened isn't necessarily maybe the cause. It could be the culprit with someone else. So I didn't put it here. Maybe I can put it up on my. Maybe I can add it on my slide later when I put it up. But there's a plugin that was developed by our CTO that when memory leak, when the out of memory happens, it will also try to log the URL of where it happens. So at least you can kind of find out in which URL request that memory error, out of memory happened. And if you can do that, maybe possibly you can recreate that locally. So if you do that in locally, then you can go through, okay, which part, you can use things like query monitor plugin to find out which parts of that request is making like memory heavy request. So yeah, there's no quick way at the moment. So yeah, if that answers your question.
OK， 好，有回答到吗？好，谢谢。那我们时间关系，我们就先不开放，大家一样可以私下呢再找我们的Tolu Miki。那我们现在掌声呢，感谢他的演讲。Thanks for your speech. So we will give you the gift and take a photo. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Mine.
Yeah. Thank you.